We're tied. 2 votes Sam, 2 votes Genevieve, 2 votes Caroline, 1 vote left. 12th person voted out of Survivor 47 and the 5th member of our jury. Caroline.
Oh man, how often do you see a 3-2-2 plurality vote happening? It's 9 out of 733 in case you actually wanted to know. Go on, name them all. I'll wait. A while ago, a commenter asked me to talk about rare Survivor votes. This has already been done before in the form of votegami, which I'll link in the description, but it can be fun to do my own research and put my own spin on it. For those that are curious, votegami is based on some football thing. I'm not sure, I'm not a sports guy. So today I'm looking at the rarest votes in Survivor history, figuring out what makes them so rare, and one particular vote setup that will never happen in US Survivor, despite having happened a few times internationally. Let's get into it. Real quick, you know the words, say it along with me. Shout out Survive R, linked in the description. They keep track of vote history and made it shockingly easy to compile a list of every single vote scenario that has happened. There are 2 notes before we start. One is that for the sake of this video, votes nullified by idols or advantages do count towards the total vote spread. I'm looking for unique vote spreads, not unique total voting scenario outcomes. Second is that I only care about things that have actually happened in Survivor history. Lots of things haven't happened in Survivor history. There are 100 ways to divide 13 votes among 12 people. We've only had like 6 tribal councils with 13 people in them. So these are the rarest votes that have actually happened on the show before, not some fantasy land. Across over 700 rounds of voting, there are 32 vote combinations that have happened only once in Survivor history. The first one comes from our very first season of Survivor, and falls into a category I refer to as people didn't really know how to play Survivor. Come on, what did you expect to happen? It's the final 10 in Survivor Borneo, and the votes are coming in, and Gretchen is voted out in a 4-1-1-1-1-1-1-1 vote. Fun fact, Jeff could have called it after the 3rd vote for Gretchen was revealed, as there was no way to tie it, but didn't, probably because it was the first season and he didn't realise. This is and always will be an insane vote. It holds so many records. The first plurality vote out, if you describe a plurality as less than half of the total votes. The most people voted for in a single tribal council, with 7 out of the 9 eligible castaways receiving votes, and the moment that cemented exactly what Survivor would be for the rest of our lives. There are some votes that have happened only once, but I don't have much to say about them. I just described them as sort of early Survivor, pre-merge, not everyone was on the same page scenarios. These include Janet's 5-1-1-1 vote in the Amazon, Jessica's 6-1-1-1 vote in Fiji, and Miri's 6-2-2 vote in Micronesia. But I have a bit to say about Bob Dog's vote in Survivor Panama. You know Cerie's 3-2-1 vote at the final 6? One of the greatest strategic moves in Survivor history, a move that required such brilliant positioning and strategic awareness, a move that has been repeated 8 times now. Do you remember that she pulled the exact same thing, but even more impressively, all the way back in episode 5 of Panama with a 3-2-1-1 vote? That's never been repeated. Good job, Cirie. Those are the only 5 votes in the first 20 seasons to never be seen since. Meanwhile, another 6 happened between Nicaragua and Worlds Apart. Commentary on the increased speed of the game, perchance? The first is in Redemption Island, where a 6-5-1 vote sends Matt back to wherever people who get voted out on Survivor Redemption Island go, I can't remember. Showing what control Boston Rob had over the game, and how you probably shouldn't mess with him. Similarly, South Pacific's 6-6 merge vote was one of the few times we've had 2 evenly matched forces going at it, with neither side willing to blink. Nope. Absolutely not. Not a single blink here. Jay's 5-2-2-1 vote in Survivor One World was almost thoroughly uninteresting, until you remember that Troyzen is a sore loser. Allegedly, and this is coming from Troyzen, who wasn't even big enough to be on Game Changers, the vote was originally on him, and that's why he played as idol. However, he claims Kim changed the vote on the car ride to Tribal, which is a big no-no and would mean Kim broke the rules of the game. This claim has been largely unsubstantiated, and I'm in the camp that he just got outplayed, but we'll likely never know. RC being voted out in a 5-4-2 vote with 5 votes being negated by Penna's idol marks the first unique vote spread to also contain a successful idol play. Kind of interesting it took us 25 seasons to get here, but it's immediately one-upped by Philip's 4-4-2 vote out in Caramoan, which featured not one, but 2 idle plays. Survivor San Juan del Sur closed out the 20s with badass and manipulator of the game Drew Christie being voted out in a 5-2-1-1 vote. I'm not saying he is a good player, but only 32 players have been voted out with unique vote spreads. He must be doing something right. There are 15 unique vote spreads occurring from Survivor Cambodia to Survivor Winners at War. Does that speak to the game stepping up to a newer level? Does it speak to there just being fewer seasons to replicate some of these scenarios? You be the judge. I'm gonna mildly lean on the latter though. Case in point, Cass's 6-4-2-1 vote, Michelle's 9-4 vote, Haley's 7-4-2 vote, Elizabeth's 12-1 vote, Joe's 6-3-2-2 vote, and Kelly's 8-5 vote. All occurred at a tribal council with 13 votes being cast, of which there really haven't been that many. In fact, every tribal council with 13 votes being cast has resulted in a unique vote spread, possibly lending credit to the fact that more people means more randomness, which in turn means more possibilities of what happens when there are so many votes flying around. So if we could stop taking people's votes away, that'd be great, thank you Jeff. And if we could vote to hit the subscribe button, that would also be great, thank you Jeff and viewers. Funnily enough, Aussie was also voted out in a unique 13 vote spread because of Debbie's extra vote, making it 7-4-1-1. Heroes vs Healers vs Hustlers had a 4-4-1-1 vote spread at the final 10, and the question I pose is, does this count as a plurality vote? I'm inclined to say no, because the revote meant Desi had the most votes at the end, but I'm curious as to what people's opinions are, and if you also learnt the word plurality from being an extremely online Survivor nerd at a young age. Remember how I said the Gretchen vote in Borneo was the only tribal council where 7 people received votes? That's only true if you count split tribals as 2 unique tribal councils, because in episode 10 of Ghost Island there were 2 sets of votes, and 7 people received votes across the 2 of them, including Michael going home in a 2-2-1-1 vote, which was certainly one of the rounds of all time. Don't worry, he was avenged when Kellen went home in a 3-3-1 vote afterwards. When you talk about it like that, it makes Ghost Island almost sound like an interesting season. 2 unique vote spreads, a tied jury vote. What happened here? Edge of Extinction had a pretty good run of 3 unique votes happening in a row. We've got the aforementioned Joe vote. Oh no, not Joe. Followed by Eric being voted out in an 8-2-2 vote. Oh no, not Eric. And then Julia being voted out 9-1-1. Oh no, not Julia. That's a votegami turkey if I've ever seen one. Yeah, I know my sporting analogies. Island of the Idols actually does something really funny. Elizabeth is the only person to go home in a completely unique tie vote revote. The initial vote of 7-1-1 is nothing special, it's happened 7 times before, but a 7-0 revote? That's never happened, except for this one time. Karishma, I owe you for that one. Winners at War's 8-2-1 vote had the opportunity to be doubly unique if Jeff wasn't a coward.
That is not a hidden immunity idol.
Come on man, let him play it. And it's followed by Tyson's 5-2-2 vote out, which he seemed to take well. Yeah, that's the spirit, Tyson. There are 6 more unique votes to go over in the new era. Part of the reason I think there are so many in so few seasons is because of the votes being taken away from castaways and the random twists thrown into the game. Or both. Exhibit A, the Sydney vote in Survivor 41, where she went home 5-4-3 after unsuccessfully playing her shot in the dark, while at a merged tribal council where more than half of the castaways could not be voted for. This is what we refer to as giving someone enough rope to hang themselves with. If the shot in the dark wasn't a thing, Sydney lightly votes for Evie and does not go home here, but because it was a thing, she used it and reaps the consequences of the action. Survivor 43's Mergatory also had a unique vote, being a 7-2-1-1 vote off of Ellie, which as we all know was a masterful tactical move by the Alligabler.
By throwing out Ellie's name, I was trying to throw out Ellie's name.
If this isn't a Mergatory where half the castaways can't be voted for, this possibly goes very differently. Speaking of twists causing unique votes, Jay Meyer being voted out 10-1 was replicated later, but the 11-0 vote that led to her revote is currently managing to stand the test of time. I'm sure she's thrilled about it. Survivor 45 also features the most insane 2-1-1-1 vote at the final 5, like what? How do you pull off a plurality like that, where every single person eligible to receive votes does? How does Katura still manage to completely balls it up? I always feel so bad for Jake watching this.
You made me swear on Nana, dude. What the hell?
Survivor 40 Several, the inspiration for this video, actually has 2 unique vote spreads to discuss. The first is the 3-1-1-1 vote for Asia. 6-person tribe, 4 people receive votes. This is up there with the messiest first votes of all time. But it would not be the last time most of these people were involved in a unique vote spread. Because once again, Murgatory comes through and we get a 9-2-1 vote against Rome, taking him out of the game and giving me this clip of Andy that I will use every opportunity I get. I love it so much.
Ich mag dich, aber dein Spiel war wirklich schlecht. Auf Wiedersehen, mein lieber Freund.
That's a quick rundown of all 32 unique vote scenarios that have occurred in US Survivor history. But there's one scenario that had 58 chances to occur and never did once. With 4 players at a tribal, the 3-1 vote has occurred 43 times, the 2-2 vote has occurred 15 times, but the 2-1-1 vote? Never, in 40 several seasons of Survivor history. If we add Australian, South African and New Zealand Survivor to the mix, courtesy of Survivor's amazing flexibility and robustness, the number of unique Survivor voting spreads changes from 32 to 38. With the US having 18, Australia having 16, South Africa having 4, and New Zealand unable to do anything right, god damn it. The fabled 2-1-1 vote, it's happened 5 different times. First we have Champions versus Contenders, a vote, to be honest, I've never fully understood. Then we have Champions versus Contenders 2, a vote that Abby objectively played incorrectly. Voting for Harry is the wrong move every single time here from a game theory perspective. It baffled me the first time I saw it. Then we have the tear-jerking vote out of Kara, seeing these 2 people who clearly love each other having to turn against each other to try and win the game is honestly soul-destroying. Then we get the Tyson vote, refusing to stand with chappies and choosing to go with your head held high. Lastly, we've got Survivor New Zealand Thailand with the Tara vote out. I could discuss it myself, but I decided to ask Lisa about it instead. Here you go.
When we got to the final 4, I thought I was pretty set up. If 3 of the 4 people left one immunity, I'd be all good. But then Tess won. And I found out that Tara had promised never to vote for Dave. So she was going to be putting her vote on me at final 4. I thought the absolute best I was able to do at that time would be to make a tie. And I did back myself to make fire. But then Tara told us that she actually was happy to go home. So to make sure it went smoothly, I convinced Tess that I was going to flip on Dave, and that's how we ended up with a 2-1-1. 1 on me from Tara, 1 on Dave from Tess, and 2 on Tara from Dave and I, as she wished.
Man, these votes where it's right down to the wire and you've got to decide with your heart or your head the biggest decision in the game, the last round when your fate can be influenced without winning immunity, it's powerful stuff. I'm so glad US Survivor completely stripped it from the game and left us with making fire. Very neat. But those are the rarest votes in Survivor history. What do you think? What's your favourite rare vote? What one do you think was the hardest to pull off? Let me know. Until next time, I've been Henry Hickman Survivor, and I'll be plotting my next very cool rare vote that may end up landing on me instead.